They'll get your life back to normal. Lonnie with Restore It, Restoration.
Welcome to the Service Guys podcast. This is podcast producer Ruel Abadam, and on the other line we have our service professional Lonnie Beecham. Hey Lonnie, how's it going?
It's going awesome today. I couldn't be much better.
Awesome. Yeah, me too. I am awesome.
Are you? Or is that just what Pete says?
Yeah, that's me being awesome. Yeah, I'm glad to get back on the line and the podcast and put out another episode. Even though today we don't have any special guests, but we're kind of doing it old school, just you and me, just covering random topics. Hopefully, folks will find interesting. Yeah, how you been?
I'm doing good. Doing good. I've had a busy week since I've been back to Missouri.
Really?
So
yeah.
Looking at new jobs, trying to bring some online.
Cool.
Looked at a couple interesting situations yesterday. So
cool.
So what are we going to talk about today?
Well, for the past 2 weekends, I was knee deep in birthday parties. I have 2 kids who have birthdays in October, so we did our daughter a couple weekends ago, and then this past weekend we had our son, and met up with some relatives and some friends and folks from the school, and had a great old time. But I caught up with somebody that I used to work for and who is practically family now because he's married to one of my cousins, and we were just catching up. When I moved to California, I worked for my cousin and his partner. They were, for lack of a better description, the job entailed background checks. So I was sort of this researcher. I would be given a list of names, and I would go to certain counties and courthouses and look for records for these individuals. So I'd carry names and partial date of births or partial social security numbers, some sort of identifying piece of information to see if somebody is in the books as far as court cases and whatnot. Because these are folks, who want to, say, rent a property or get hired for a job. So part of what I did was doing all of that research to find out if somebody had any outstanding warrants or had a criminal history dating as far back as 7 or 10 years, depending on the level of background check that needs to be done. At any rate, I worked for my cousin, and his partner, and I finally got to see his partner after so many years, and we were just catching up. And as unusual as it sounds, I haven't been in contact with my cousin, for a number of years as well. So I asked him, how's Ed doing? I haven't heard from him.
Yeah.
You're his business partner. And he says, well, this is where you come into the picture, at least the thought of you. He says, well, Ed's not doing too good right now. His house kind of got flooded, about 3 inches. Oh no. 3 inches of water. So, the insurance is covering, the cost, but it's still a pain in the butt.
Oh, good.
It's about $100,000 worth of damage or something like that. And I was just thinking about, you gotta strip out all of that drywall, and you gotta dry out the frame, and you gotta make sure it's all dried out, and all that stuff. I'm just trying to think, what would Lonnie say in this situation?
Well, now you're intriguing me. What was the source of the water?
That I don't know. I can only imagine.
Was it rain? Was it a drain backup? A pipe break?
It hasn't been raining here. It hasn't been raining here lately, so let's just speculate. Maybe a pipe backup or a busted pipe. With where he lives, he lives in Hayward, and the Hayward is by or along a fault. We can just pretend that, maybe over a period of time, there's enough shifting going around that something in the pipes.
I could see that. Breaking the solder joints or something. Yep. I could see that.
Yeah. So yeah, I wanted to bring that up and sort of.
Well, I didn't know you at one time did background check information searches. I'll let you and my listeners know that I do anybody that works for me, be it directly or a sub or anything. I do background checks for nationwide, and I also do I go above and beyond. I don't just look for warrants and stuff like that. I also refuse to hire anybody that's on a sexual the sexual predator list, or the sex offender. That's the word I'm looking for.
Yeah.
I will not hire anybody that's on a sex offender list. I have a zero tolerance for that, and I've heard all the stories that I've known guys locally that do great work. They would be an awesome sub, and I remember years ago, I was blowing this guy off. He was looking for work, and he was, hey, send me your drywall, send me your this and that work, and I was blowing him off. I was like, I'll do it one of these days. And then he finally called me, and I just told him, like, look, as long as you're on that list, I'm not putting you in my living room of a customer's house. And he's like, oh, and I've heard this story so many times. Oh, that was my ex-wife. She put my kids up to it. And I was like, I don't care what the story is, as long as they can Google your name and see your face. And I said, you'll just never, ever stand on one of my customers' properties representing me. Never happened. And he's never called me back since. So I didn't want to be that guy, but yeah, I do that. And even, I live in a town of 50,000 people, and yeah, there's always kind of rumors, and I know rumors aren't always true, but I won't even work for you as a customer if you're rumored, and if there's accusations about doing anything with kids. It's like, no, I have a soft spot for kids and old people. Well, I like people, but you don't hurt defenseless people and then expect good karma to come back. Nope, I won't even work for you, no matter how broke I am at the moment. If there's allegations about somebody being hurting a kid in any way, shape, or form, don't even want to work for you. That's interesting. I didn't know that. We've known each other for years. I didn't know that you were once a background checker.
Yeah. I did it for years, and that was my way to be familiarized with this whole area. I had to drive daily from county to county, courthouse to courthouse, and then maybe stagger counties depending on where. I'd literally carry lists of names. It's totally different now. You can get a lot of stuff online, but
I was
the guy that. Yeah, I was the guy that actually thumbed through files and thumbed through stacks of printouts of names, and then flipping through microfiche and whatnot. So yeah,
oh, wow.
That was me.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah, one of the scariest moments on the job was was in San Francisco. I had requested to take a look at a file and make copies of a guy who had manslaughter on his record. And
nice.
The guy had walked in, and the court took notice that that it was him, and I had previously requested to look at the file. So we had to make okay, she knew what I was about, what my job was about. So we had to not let the guy know that I was looking at his case, because if a guy who's got manslaughter on his record finds out that I've been snooping around looking for his stuff and potentially preventing his ability to get a job or get a place to live, I might be the next guy that he takes out.
Exactly. Wow. Yeah. Wow. What a coincidence that you're looking at his file when he comes in to do whatever he was doing.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So back to this was your cousin that had the water loss in his house?
My cousin. Yeah.
Yeah, see, that gets my juices flowing right there, buddy. I like
I
water
imagine.
damage.
What's the first thing that goes through your mind when you hear that somebody's house gets 3 inches worth of flooding?
The first thing that goes through my mind, I start thinking about logistics of atmospheric conditions, the time frame. The first question I ask is what I asked you: what was the source? That's huge. That plays into it big time. If it's a floor drain, that's treated as sewage. So 3 inches of water, that means I'm cutting sheetrock out at 2 feet. If it's a pipe break, then I probably don't have to cut out sheetrock. So, yeah, that's the first thing I always think of is what's the source, and then it breaks down. Is it a washing machine overflow? Did it have detergent in it, or did the hose break on it? Those are classified two different ways. If it's a toilet overflow, did it come from the tank or did it come from the bowl? If it came from the bowl, was there only number 1 in it or was there number 2 in it? How long has it sat there? If fish tank aquariums, you get a big aquarium that breaks, that does happen. Then there's is it salt water? Is it fresh water? Is it
Holy cow!
How filled of algae is it? Certain situations, I have the reason why I'm asking for the source. We have 3 classifications of water. Category 1 is considered fresh water. It's potable. Technically, you could drink it. So, I mean, you may not want to, but if a pipe breaks in your house and it hits your floor in the basement, you could drink it and be relatively safe, but then that also gets into how many animals do you have? What's your hygiene level like? Are there dog turds sitting everywhere? And now we got this fresh potable water sitting in dog turds and dog urine. Then it becomes category 3.
Wow.
I jumped the gun there.
I like how when we talk about bowls, we say, is there number 1 in there or is there number 2? But when we flip over to talk about dogs, we just call them turds.
Right. But yeah. So like I'm getting ahead of myself. But so we have 3 classifications. Class 1 is fresh water pipe break, no big deal. We can dry it without cutting sheetrock, without removing carpet and pad. Depending on the pad. If you got a pet pad, then that's another question. What kind of pad do you have? Does it have a layer of plastic or rubber over the top of it? If so, then I have to rip that out. If it doesn't, then I can dry it in place. After that, we have category 2 water. So that's going to be like your washing machine overflow. If the drum, you got detergent in there and stuff, and it overflows. Now all of a sudden, I automatically have to take the pad out. I can save and clean and salvage the carpet, but I have to remove and replace the carpet or the pad. Then we have category 3, and that's considered black water. So those are going to be things like if you puncture a waterbed. Now, I'll be honest, I haven't seen a waterbed in ages, but I have done a situation where the waterbed ruptured and it flooded out the house. So that's category 3. That's treated the same as sewage. So we rip out carpet, pads, drywall, tack strips, door jambs, stuff like that. Category 3 is also floor drains. So if you get a heavy rain and it backs up your drain in the middle of your basement, then that's treated just like sewage. Or we have like literally raw sewage coming up through either floor drains. Sometimes I've been in situations where it has just exploded up out of the toilet and just covered the whole bathroom and the whole basement out of the toilet. And it is, we call it brown trout. That's just, nice word to say for raw, just poop. I mean, just raw sewage. I've
very environmentally friendly.
Yes. I've waded through 12 inches of raw sewage, and obviously in rubber boots, and you walk very gingerly because you don't want to slop that all over yourself. So that's the very first thought I think of is what's the source. Then after that, I start thinking logistics and how soon do I have to get this drywall cut out of here if it's Category 3. If they've been on vacation for a month and they come home, time will also turn it into Category 3. So if you leave your house, or we got we have a place down at Lake of the Ozarks. It's a vacation home. Well, every winter there's always handfuls of people that don't turn the water off, and they'll leave their house for the winter. They'll come back in 6 months, and water's been flowing the whole time. Well, what was once a Category 1, which means very little invasive work has to be done, now all of a sudden it sat there for 6 months. Well, now it's turned into a mushroom mold farm, and now I have to rip it all out. So.
Wow. Okay, so just a little bit of stuff goes through your head when you
yeah.
Just a little bit.
Then I start thinking, knowing my area, there are certain parts of my area I refuse to work in. I got certain areas that make me pull a permit just to remove drywall. And it's like, no, I'm not working there. Then the next question I always ask is, have you called your insurance company? And if so, which insurance company do you have? There's one that advertises on TV like crazy that I refuse to work for. And I'll just go ahead and say it. If you have Farmers Insurance, good luck getting a restoration guy to show up, because they don't work with us very well at all.
Oh boy, there you go. There's a great endorsement.
Yeah, don't use Farmers Insurance. Great commercial, but horrible company to work with. See, I like this, Ruel. We never, just so the listeners know, when you throw topics out, I never know what you're going to ask me.
Yeah, I'm out of my mind.
Free flow thoughts that first reactions every time I always ask you, what are we talking about today?
Yeah, that's the ADD. So you brought up something, Lake of the Ozarks, when winter comes and people leave their house with their water left on. But if I heard somewhere that one way to deal with freezing your pipes and them breaking and whatnot is to slightly leave it switched on. Does that sound like something, or am I making that up?
Yeah, no, that's very real. Moving water does not freeze. If you think about it, a river never totally freezes over. You'll have chunks of ice in it, but it never totally freezes over. Only solid, still bodies of water like your ponds and your lakes will freeze over. Same thing with pipes. So if you're ever in a situation, you could leave water trickling at the faucets and be relatively okay. I mean, there's still room for error. Pipes still, they, depending on how cold it is and the duration and where you're at, even though it's trickling, it could still break. But no, you're onto something. I personally, if I'm leaving town, whether it's overnight, 3 days, or a week, or whatever, I literally go and shut the water off to the house, shut the water heater off, and open all my faucets, and just let the water drain out and leave them wide open while I'm gone. But that's just because I don't like working for free. So you as a customer, leave it all running, leave it all pressurized, and turn your heat off, and call me whenever that doesn't work out so well.
Gotcha. Interesting. Oh, now this is slightly related. I mean, because it seems like everything that we're going to be talking about has a relation to water or moisture. There was something that you shared a while back. It had to do with a room full of mold, and I think there was a heading or a caption that said, "This is what happens when folks go on vacation for like a week, maybe during the summer heat time, and they don't leave their AC on." And then the image was the ceiling fan all sort of dilapidated and warped and bent over.
Yeah, I remember that picture. That one was that doesn't happen in a week. That was sorry, I interrupted you. What were you going to ask?
Yeah, I was just going to say, is that a thing where if you have like your AC isn't running or some sort of airflow going on in your house for an extended period of time, that can happen?
very, very much so. I didn't doctor that picture. I think I just texted it to you. No, that happens in like vacation areas. If you don't leave your furnace system on or your AC on, then yeah, humidity just it gets in your house, and yeah, your ceiling fans will just hang there like a melted candle. And that's that picture that I texted you, that takes a month or more for that to happen. But if you remember, you saw those speckled mold just growing on the walls, and obviously, it was real heavy at the bottom foot or two of the wall, but then the rest of it, floor to ceiling, and the ceiling was just speckled with mold. Yeah, that's leaving your property in a humid climate. That's what happens when you leave your AC off for the summer and you come back.
Yeah, I used to think, okay, we're going to be gone for a long week on vacation. Let's make sure we turn off the AC. And I can remember there had been times where we'd get home and like, oh man, turn on the air. It's kind of yucky. The air's kind of yucky right now in the house.
Sure.
And but since you shared that bit of information, I'm like, no, let's leave the air on. Just keep temperature moderate, just so that throughout the day it kicks on.
Yeah, you don't need to leave it at 65, 70 degrees, but 75 to 80 at the most, just so that it does kick on every so often to pull some humidity out. That's kind of all you need. And then if you're out of town, you may or may not be aware of this, but your thermostat on the wall that controls, and I don't know the size of your house, you may have two thermostats. I don't know. But there's two settings on every thermostat for your ventilation system. It says fan on or fan auto. At a minimum, like kick it up to 80 degrees on the air conditioner, and then kick your fan over to on. That way, air is always moving through the system. Even though you're gone, it doesn't use much electricity. In fact, I leave my fan on year round because it actually keeps your house much more comfortable because air is always flowing. So yes, I never shut it off, and it
not auto but on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you're leaving for a weekend or a week or whatever, yeah, and if you don't do it all automatically, kick your fan over to on. That way, and it's good. It's good for the system. It's actually good for your health. It's good for everything. Yes, it burns a little electricity. They say it's about an equivalent to leaving a 30-watt light bulb on 24/7. So it's not going to jump up hundreds of dollars a month, but I mean, it might jump up $10 a month. But if you think about it, your ventilation system has an air filter on it, right? Well, when that fan is kicking on, it's filtering out all the pollen and all the dust and all the whatever's in your home. So it's capturing more of that instead of letting it sit and settle. And then when the AC or the heat's not on, then you're sitting there breathing whatever's in your house. And if you live on a gravel road or have a lot of pets or stuff like that, then you're breathing more of that. But if the system is always constantly running, the fan will run, but not the AC or the heat until the thermostat says 80 degrees or 60 degrees or whatever. So it's actually better
now
for
that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
It's moving air, but it's not unless the thermostat reaches whatever the setting. It won't kick heat or it won't kick cool.
Right.
But it'll just keep the air flowing. I gotcha. Right. That makes sense. Wow. Thank you.
And this is stuff I just take for granted. I think everybody knows this, but talking free flow like this just kind of reminds me that not everyone knows this kind of stuff. But yes, you'll do better. You'll do better with leaving the fan on. All
right. See, that's good. It's stuff like that that's practical and it's good info. And like you said, not everybody knows it. So I'm kind of blown away when we had those conversations in the past with other guests like Andy and talking about mold and in the shower or whatever, you know, and you talk about things like, you know, you cracking the window just a little bit just to get some air flowing. I do that a lot now, you know, at home. I make sure whenever, you know, the kids are done with their baths or showers that I crack that window and let that moisture sort of kind of flow around and dissipate somehow.
Yeah, well, and if you have an exhaust fan, and you crack a window, that exhaust fan will pull some fresh air from outside in, and it'll go up into, hopefully it'll be vented through the roof and not just into your attic. But a lot of times people will just vent those exhaust fans right into their attic, and now they're just taking all that hot, humid air and putting it in a enclosed, hot, humid environment. But you know, if you don't go up there and you don't know what you're looking for, then and it's easier said than done to just drill a hole through your shingles and roof and put an exhaust pipe in there. But so it takes a little bit of investment, let's say. But yeah, if you have an exhaust fan, you don't have to really crack a window, but get it up and out and let it run for 20 minutes.
We do have a fan. I forget about the fan. Now I'm going to remember. Now I'm going to have that kicking in. I think in general we don't mess with the fan that often because it leaves that fan sound humming and all through the one side of the house. But that's good to know.
Yeah, anytime you're taking a shower or a bath, have that exhaust fan on. And if it's making a lot of noise, either A, it's an old antique that needs to be replaced, or B, it's dirty and you need to like pop the cover off and blow it out, vacuum it out, wipe it out, you know, just get the you know, the crud and the hair and the, you know, stuff that's on the fan, get that cleaned up. And that usually quiets the fan noise down.
See, speaking of crud and hair, I've got a bathroom sink in our master bath that's kind of backed up a little bit when I would let the water run at a high rate, and it would accumulate in the bowl in the sink, and then it would slowly trickle down. So I got to deal with that. But like other things we've talked about with Mark Thompson on when we had him on the show, using things like Drano isn't going to be good for the pipe.
No. You can Google, go to Amazon and look for, what do they call that? I have about 30 of them. What do they call that? I think, and we can talk offline. I think it's called a sink snake, but what it is plastic that has barbs on it, and you just fish that down in there, and when you pull it out, those barbs will gather the hair. It'll make you puke.
Gotcha.
It's disgusting. Yeah. That's what you want.
I don't know what it is.
12 inches long.
It's not. I doubt that it's much hair. It's more like it's like this crusty film and it's dark. Because what I've done to sort of deal with it temporarily is we have this small sized plunger, and I'll just pop that thing several times over the sink drain, and then it would force some of that black crusty stuff to surface up, come out of the drain. I'm like, that's all that stuff that I need to break apart, and it's backing things up. But
that black that you're seeing, I bet it smells real funky too, doesn't it?
Oh, I've not stuck my nose onto it.
That's actually what you're pulling out is we all have it. You know, I have it in my sink drain too, in the P-trap, but that's actually like a biofilm, and that's actually like bacteria and stuff that's sticking to the toothpaste and detergents and hand soaps and stuff like that. And you will be amazed. You have a little girl and you have a wife. I have three ladies in my house. There's tons of hair everywhere, way more than you realize until I have to. Sometimes, Ruel, you might need to go to the kitchen sink or go to the kitchen, get a big a pot that's big enough to hold some water, but yet small enough to get under that P trap. And those pipes are usually only hand tight. It doesn't take a lot to tighten and untighten them, but you might have to take that P trap under the sink off, shine a flashlight up there, and then shove this little sink snake through there and get whatever gunk is in there, just get it out. And once you empty the P trap is at a little, kind of looks like a P that's under your sink. There's what they call a tailpipe that goes straight down, and then there's that little U at the bottom that always holds water that goes in. Then the rest of it goes into the drain line. That
Yep.
water, that P trap is designed to keep all the sewer gases and stuff from coming back up through your house. Every sink, every toilet, every washing machine hose discharge area, every one of them has what they call a P trap, or an S trap, or a J trap, but by and large, and they're only hand tight.
Yeah, I forgot about
once you drain that P trap, then you might need to take it to an outside spigot or something, spray it out if it's filled with gunk, or replace it.
Yeah.
I mean, they're cheap and plastic, and I mean $5 to $10 at your local store, and you can be good to go.
I'll do that. I'll do the whole remove the P trap, open up the P trap and clean it out. I think that'll.
But I'll tell you, that P trap water stinks. It is nasty.
But
that's why you want a pan to catch it.
Okay, I'll do that, and I think it'll be an interesting job that way, other than snaking stuff out. But I don't know. It depends what I have time for.
Well, you got boys. Boys are always curious, and they need to learn stuff like this. Let them help you. You'll be done in 10 minutes if you did it by yourself, and 45 minutes later, with teaching the boys how to do it, they'll have something to do, and they'll be proud to help Dad.
Yeah, that's a good point. I'll definitely have them witness the beauty, which is opening up the P trap. You did say that those things, the P traps aren't. It doesn't take much. They're usually hand tightened, and I've noticed that. I'm thinking like, man, who the heck did this? Why isn't it secure? But
there's no pressure to it. It's just drain. So as long as it's tight enough to keep there's a little plastic gasket in there, and it doesn't take much to keep it from leaking.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
Now you might have metal. Metal P traps are those might be tightened down where you might need to get a channel locks involved, but it doesn't take much effort. I mean, they're usually just hand tight, or barely. You might need to get a channel locks, special kind of. It's not that special of a wrench. You might even have one, and they're handy. You might need one of those if you have a metal P trap.
Is that the sort of the not a monkey wrench, but it's the ones that
monkey wrench is the technical term is a pipe wrench. that I know what you're talking about. You don't need to go buy a monkey wrench, pipe wrench. That's more industrial plumbing.
I'll have to do all of this P trap cleanup along. I've got this bathtub faucet or whatever valve gasket issue where every now and then the little rubber gasket wears out, and shutting off the water isn't thorough, if that even makes sense. I would twist the thing, and I'd turn it whatever clockwise or counterclockwise to shut it off, and sometimes it won't shut off completely. I have to really crank it really hard because the gasket's all jacked. I'd have to do that every once in a while.
A sink faucet?
No, it's one of those bathtubs with with a. It looks like a jacuzzi, but it's not a jacuzzi. It's got the faucet coming off the I don't know, the top of the tub. It's not coming out of the wall, and it's got two knobs on each side of the spout or whatever you want to call it, and they turn in opposite directions. So if you want the hot water, it goes one way. If you want cold, so there's a little lever, and it's always the hot water side that gets this problem, or it gets the problem faster. So I have to go in, I got to remove the thing, and I got to strip out the little rubber ring that was there that serves as a gasket, and I would replace it. Yeah, crappy.
Well, and sometimes it can be as simple as tightening the packing nut that's on there inside under the handle part. It could be as simple as just tightening that, but heat always does. Back in high school science class, expansion and contraction. So anytime you got hot water flowing through, that's going to expand that gasket. And then when it cools off, it expands and shrinks. It expands and shrinks. So that's why the hot side is always more prevalent to have leaks on it. So it sounds like
that they don't make them in like.
Well,
yeah,
they do make some really good. They do make some really good valves, but you're going to spend like $1,000 for a faucet.
Yeah, well, at least like instead of some conventional, I don't know, rubber rings, use like silicone or something that can resist the heat better. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe unfortunately they don't really make that without spending buku money versus a $5 gasket O-ring at your local hardware store. You can buy a lot of $5 gaskets before you get into the Veltron. There are certain things out there that will withstand it, but it doesn't make economic sense.
Ooh,
it ain't like you do it every day.
I have one more random thing for you related to the sink. My wife points out that, lately she sees, I don't know what they are. They're little bugs. They're little I don't know if they're like fruit flies or something. Little tiny flying thingies that she sees in the sink, and we can't explain where they come from. And she thinks that they might be coming out of the drain or, within the sink, Do you know what that's about? Have you heard of anything like that?
No, but knowing the plumbing like I do, that's what that P-trap is about. Your flying insects typically aren't very good swimmers, so they're not going to swim through a P-trap to come up and out. I don't know what that would be. It could be, just my first thought would be if you use like apple scented hand soaps or any fruity scented hand soaps, they might be attracted to the smell and they're just dipping down in there to eat and whatever this bug is. But I've never heard of that.
Oh, so the question is are they coming through the little crack that I leave on the window?
Could be.
And making their way through the screen. Okay.
Well, are they that small that they're making it through the screen?
I'll have to take a picture the next time I see them. Yeah.
Or it sounds like you just need to pay, my daily wages and buy me an airline ticket. And I do require first class and business travel.
Yeah.
And
you got it.
Fly me out there, and I'll bring all my tools and come take care of your house.
The big orange van and truck to come and
you
kind of
you
roll
couldn't
on
afford
in.
You couldn't afford to buy my gas and get there.
The whole restoration convoy, kind of like the Autobots and Transformers rolling in past through the desert to save the day. Cool, man.
Yeah, I like this free flow topic.
Yeah, it lets the audience know that I can have something to talk about every once in a while. Not always in the background choir.
So, one of the things I kind of wanted to talk about today was, so yesterday I go into a mold situation, and
Okay.
so I get there. I don't have a lot of money, and then he tells me that he told me that he had an insurance adjuster come out, and I was like, oh, who is that? And he tells me, and I was like, oh, I know her very well. And I said, if you don't mind, I'll call her and kind of fill her in on what I'm seeing, and she'll fill me in on what she knows, and we'll put our heads together and try to help you out. So one of the things I want to leave the listeners with is whenever you do have an insurance claim of any kind, be it a theft, a fire, water damage, mold damage, if you're lucky enough to have mold coverage, anytime you make an insurance claim, you need to work on this in a timely manner. What this guy failed to tell me was that he had like 3 water issues happen almost simultaneously, and he called his insurance company. Well, the insurance adjuster told me this was 6 months ago, back in the spring, that
Wow.
went out and looked at this, and she paid money based on what she saw at that time. And I don't know, every company is different. So you'll have to either talk to your agent or look at your, the verbiage, actually read your homeowner's insurance policy or your renter's policy, whatever you have, read it and see what the time frame is. But so long story short, he had a small situation. She wrote him a check for $3,700, expecting him to take care of it within days or within a week. 6 months later, he didn't do any dry out. He didn't do anything. Now he's having health issues. He has mold growing in like 4 rooms. And so I called the adjuster, and she's like, there's no more coverage, based on 6 months. There was no mold growing 6 months ago, and now there is. Now I got to gut a garage, storage area under the stairs, a little closet under the stairs, and his utility room, and a hallway, and a recreation room. And so I just want to let people know that insurance companies do expect you to do some sort of, right or wrong, they expect you to move forward within days of making a claim, not waiting around 6 months and letting it fester and get worse. And so now he was paid $3,700, which was way more than fair at the time. And now he's looking at about $18,000 worth of just mold remediation, and he has no more coverage. He's only getting $3,700, and that's it. And now he doesn't have the money to pay for it, and he don't know what to do, because now everybody in the house is getting sick, and I'm standing here saying, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. From water damage to now not just water damage, but it's mold and actual family members getting sick.
Yes. Yes.
That's crazy.
Interesting, isn't it?
That's a good tip, Lonnie.
Yeah. Sometimes I surprise myself. I think when I listen to myself, it sounds like I might know what I'm talking about.
Cool. Very cool. Well, I really enjoyed this. We're going to have to, throw these in every once in a while in between, the sets of guests and stuff that we have on. That's what I think.
Yeah.
What do you think?
And now that it's getting to be winter time, I should be able to get more of my local tradesmen friends on the horn. And, we trades guys tend to slow down during the winter months. So it'd be a lot easier to get certain classifications of people on the line that aren't out, servicing their customers all the time. They're not going to take money out of their pocket to talk to us for an hour. So yeah, these are good. I really actually enjoy you just throwing random topics at me.
Yeah. So I think this service call is over.
I think so.
Yeah, you got to be. If I'm not mistaken, it's about time for you to be a daddy.
Pretty soon. I got. You just wait till you get to where I'm at with your kids. I got my 14, almost 15-year-old is in St. Louis at Six Flags, doing a haunted Six Flags, amusement park thing tonight with her. I guess she's calling him her boyfriend. I'm not ready to say boyfriend, but she's calling it her boyfriend. And then my wife and my baby are out shopping for clothes, and so I'm actually right now, I do need to get home, but it's not to do daddy duties. It's just I'm starving. So.
Yeah, and I need to actually I gotta go get a toilet ready to be flushed because I gotta put something in it.
Well, on that note, I would like to thank the listeners for tuning in, all three of you, and you know who you are. And I want to say, go to iTunes or whatever platform you're listening to this on and leave us a 5-star review. And I want to thank you for your time today, Ruel. It's great catching up with you. And
yes,
this has been Lonnie Beecham with Restore It Restoration. On this side of the continent, on the West Coast, is Ruel Abadam, my IT professional with Abadam Studios. And I want to say this, Lonnie Beecham, get your life back to normal.
They'll get your life back to normal. Lonnie with Restore It Restoration.
Hey, now we're being recorded.
Hey.
Ruel, how you doing?
I'm pretty sure whatever you were saying that got cut off was still recorded. For me to refer to.
After I started rambling, I don't remember hearing saying this meeting's being recorded, so I don't know.
Oh, well, I guess when I rescheduled from 12 to 2, it created a completely different meeting ID. I assumed it would just change the time, but I guess that's not how it works. So I hopped on I think I hopped on one of them, the one that you weren't on. And while I was trying to get on, it said there was already a meeting in place. I'm like, what if I hit end? I wonder what that would do. And then I got your text. I'm like, okay, that's what it is.
That's what it does. It says goodbye, like when we were talking with Vinny last time.
You know what? I was looking at his name on the system when he was on that meeting, and his name is admin, right? And I was wondering, was it coincidence that when he logged out, that it logged us out?
It must have been it.
That doesn't make any sense, but it was funny.
That was funny though. So how you doing? We don't have a guest today, but I missed you last week. I was a little busy.
I know. It was. If we didn't meet today, I felt like we were, at least for me, I was on a trajectory of going downhill, feeling slightly depressed, lose momentum, and then the world would come to an end, and then everything would be just fine.
Well, Ruel, you can always call me.
I know. And I was going to.
I tease people all the time that you and I talk some days more than like me and my wife. I don't usually talk to her much during the day until we get home, but you and I communicate one form or fashion almost daily.
Yeah.
Multiple times a day sometimes.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. It's kind of like it's along the lines of if you're active on social and you get a good amount of interaction and responses on social, there's a sort of high that you get. And so instead of that, if I just ping you or ping the admins and just sort of get that immediate response, then I get a little bit of that high, So.
Yeah, this time last week I was in the Pacific Northwest, and I don't know if what I was rambling about earlier was being recorded, but I was just talking about what a wonderful wedding experience I had. I can openly, freely talk because I don't think my brother and my new sister, I don't think they listen to the podcast. But,
no, I don't think they listen either. And I've asked them to rate and review, but if they don't listen, it's not going to happen.
Right. And I don't ask. I don't talk to him about it. So, but yeah, I was in Seattle watching them. By this time last week, I had gained a new sister and got to meet her family. And I had, man, I remember, a month or three ago, we were talking, I said, I've been to Seattle and been there and done that. Don't need to do that again. But I fell in love with it this time.
Oh, look at that.
Got to see old friends, got to see Jackie Jones in person. She surprised me at the wedding. And then I got to make some real life friends. I got to meet Jackie's husband, got to meet, we had a small little meetup, got to meet, several people from our group for coffee on the day of the wedding. And then I ended up getting, having a drink at a Tokyo, like a Japanese sushi place called Tokyo something in Bellevue, Washington. Got to see, that's where I got to meet Jackie Jones's husband, and then Megan Hawks or Megan Hawks or something. I don't know if that's her married name. Maiden, I don't know if it's hyphenated, but anyway, got to meet her for drinks. And well, I'd already met her earlier for coffee, but her and Jackie were going out since Jackie was in the area. So I wasn't about to drive 30, 45 miles one way just to go hang out after I was exhausted and wearing a suit and everything else. So yeah, and are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here. Yeah. Okay. I just muted myself.
Gotcha. And then after we, we sat there and hung out, got to meet Jackie's husband and got to, get to know Megan Hawks a little bit better and hang out with Jackie again. We tried to go to our parking garage, and next thing you know, Jackie and I ended up spending an hour and a half in a parking garage because the gate broke and we couldn't, the car that was getting out couldn't, it was a Tahoe, a big SUV, something other, it couldn't get out. And then some little Honda Civic something couldn't get in because the gate was broken and wouldn't go up or down. we were a little nervous for a minute. And then we literally just, like, I don't know, 6 or 8 of us guys just literally just crammed the door, the gate, just lifted it high enough to get the Tahoe out. And we knew if that got out, then the rest of us could. And I found trash can barrel things to prop up to hold the gate open so it wouldn't fall on anybody. And then we all just paid our tab for the parking garage, and we just boogied on out, and that was that. And so
there you go.
Anyway,
get a bunch of service guys together, and you can open up a garage door.
Well, it was a preacher man. It was a water restoration guy, a real estate agent, and then a pear and apple orchard farmer. And I don't know what the other 2 or 3 guys, I don't know what they do for a living. But, yeah, we just, in our suits and everything, we just lifted that thing up and made it work.
Cool. Very cool. Sounds like one of those jokes, like a preacher and a rabbi walking to a bar.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that was the same preacher that married Trey and Amber and his wife, and then Jackie Jones and her husband, me and Amber's sister, her husband, the wedding planner, and then there was another carload or 2 of people, plus the people that live in this place. That's who was jimmying this thing open so we could all get out. We got our own memories from the wedding. The newlyweds were making their memories, and we were making our own. So, and here we are a week later, catching up like old friends and hanging out.
Yeah, I got to say, all those pictures that Jackie and the other folks in the wedding party were sharing online, the pictures of the spread, the cake and all that.
Yes,
I was blown away.
Delicious. Oh, it was phenomenal. Yeah. And the food setup was so long, and there was steak and prosciutto ham and all kinds of cheeses and nuts and strawberries and I don't know what all it was, but it was so long. I was trying to do that panoramic view thing, and it was so long it was cutting off, my camera was cutting off, so I never got a full picture of the full spread. But it was phenomenal, delicious food. And then I was surprised to see Jackie there. I got to meet her face to face last September, so I've known her face to face for I guess a year now. And online, obviously we all know each other online, but it's not the same until you meet each other and give each other a hug and take pictures. Then it's real.
Very cool. Very cool.
So yeah, and I was saying earlier, I just literally hopped off the phone with my brother and my new sister right before I dialed into this, and they're planning on coming back to Missouri for 4 or 5 days, and we're gonna get together next week and yeah, catch up. And they've been honeymooning in the Rocky Mountains somewhere in British Columbia, Canada, I think, somewhere like that. So yeah, if they listen, they can correct us if they listen. They can let me know.
Yeah, and in about 9 months, your daughters are going to have cousins.
Yeah, I think that's the plan. At least we'll see what time brings, but that kind of goes hand in hand with weddings and marriages and that sort of thing. So what are we talking about today, or am I just gonna free flow today?
No, we can talk about a bunch. Do we do the formal intro kind of deal?
Oh yeah. Let's do that. You do it this time.
Let's do that. Okay.
This is another Coffee with Heavy Cream production.